The night begins in silver. Above the sleeping hills of Ooo, a pale moon hangs like a lantern in the mist. Soft, round, and endlessly patient. The meadows stretch out beneath it, whispering in 1,000 shades of blue-green. Crickets hum in gentle rhythm, and the dew upon the grass catches the starlight like scattered diamonds. A warm breeze moves slowly, carrying the faint scent of honey and moss. Somewhere beyond the distant forest, the echoes of adventure long past ripple faintly through the night. Songs of heroes who once laughed beneath this same moon, Oz. Finn and Jake are there, sitting by a quiet campfire that barely flickers. They are older now, not by years, but by the kind of time that seeps through experience, mellow and kind. The firelight brushes against Finn's face, making him look almost timeless. Jake lies stretched beside him, his shape long and lazy, his eyes half closed, but still bright, with that familiar glow of mischief and peace combined. Finn stirs the embers with a stick.
"Hey, Jake," he says softly, as though speaking too loudly might disturb the stars. "Do you ever think about everything?"
Jake grins lazily. "Buddy, everything's a lot to think about." And they laugh, not loudly, but in that half-asleep, knowing way that friends do, when the night is calm and their hearts alight. Pause. The moon drifts higher, the laughter fades, and for a while, silence reigns, the soft, eternal kind that fills the world when it's too beautiful to speak. Finn looks out across the meadow. "Sometimes," he says, "I feel like all the adventures we had were dreams, like they were meant to lead us here, to this quiet place." Jake stretches. "Maybe they were dreams, man. But what's wrong with dreams? The world's just a dream that lasts a little longer." The fire cracks, the stars shimmer, and the night folds in upon itself, deep and endless. There's something sacred about endings that are not really endings. The still breath that comes after a long journey. The heroes of Ooo once raced across mountains, oceans, and stars. They fought leeches, saved kingdoms, and wrestled with the mysteries of time itself. Yet here they are now, calm, still, thoughtful. It's as if all things, even the wildest stories, must one day return to stillness. Even the mightiest storms dissolve back into the ocean. Even laughter fades into memory. And in that fading, something quiet and eternal is revealed. In the meadow, the wind carries the scent of rain from faraway valleys. The grass ripples in soft waves, and every movement feels like the slow pulse of a sleeping world. This is Ooo, not the chaotic, colorful place of old, but a gentler, wiser land breathing peacefully beneath the moon. Whilst Finn watches the horizon. He remembers the Candy Kingdom, the Ice King's lonely castle, the treehouse where stories began. He remembers flame and frost, joy and sorrow, love and loss. Yet all those memories now seem to hum together like a lullaby. What if, he wonders, the true treasure of an adventure is not the discovery of something new, but the peace that comes after?
"Time in Ooo is not a straight line."
It flows in loops, spirals, dreams. Sometimes a moment from long ago will drift into the present like a fallen leaf carried on the wind. Jake hums a tune, an old one they used to sing while traveling. It fills the air softly, a vibration that stirs the memories hidden in the stars. And for a brief instant, Finn can almost hear their younger voices layered beneath the current one. Laughter from another era, echoing faintly like ripples in water. He closes his eyes. He sees the faces of friends, Princess Bubblegum's patient smile, Marceline's quiet music under a red moon, the Lich's hollow eyes filled with strange wisdom. Even the Lich, in his cold and shadowed way, had taught something vital, that endings, too, are part of the song of existence. In the silence that follows, Finn feels a sense of peace. All things, light and dark, joy and fear, are threads in the same tapestry.
And maybe the meaning isn't in fighting the darkness, but in learning to see its beauty, the calm symmetry of all things existing together, as he opens his eyes.
The fire is low. The stars shimmer faintly, each one a memory glowing in the far corners of space. Rest, in this world, is not the absence of movement. It is the still turning of all things in harmony. The trees rest when the wind stops whispering. The sea rests when it mirrors the moon. Even the heroes of Ooo rest when they've seen enough to understand that the world doesn't need saving, only witnessing. Finn feels the earth beneath him, cool and soft. He presses his palm into the soil and feels it hum. It's a soundless vibration, a reminder that even silence is alive. The ground carries the stories of every creature that ever walked upon it, every laughter, every tear, every echo. Jake rolls over lazily. "You ever notice," he murmurs, "how quiet doesn't mean empty?"
It's like
"The world's thinking," Finn smiles. "Maybe it's dreaming." They both fall silent again, listening to the dream. Pause. Philosophers might say that peace is a kind of forgetting. But here it feels more like remembering. Remembering what it means to be small beneath the sky, to belong among stars and grass and moonlight. The world doesn't ask anything of them tonight. It simply allows them to exist, and isn't that the gentlest kind of love? Beyond the visible meadow lies another realm, one woven of light, memory, and imagination. If you close your eyes and listen deeply, you can feel it. The dream beneath the dream. There, the tree of Ooo still stands, its branches filled with infinite moments. There, the adventures still play out endlessly, not as history, but as song. Finn and Jake's laughter still rings somewhere in that deeper current, timeless and free. Perhaps every story ever told continues to echo in this secret layer of reality, not lost, but softly playing forever, like wind through the leaves of the universe. Finn leans back, gazing at the stars. "You think our story still echoes somewhere out there?" he asks. Jake smiles. "Buddy, I think it never stopped." Pause. Their words dissolve into the air. Above them, a shooting star glides silently, trailing silver light like a brushstroke across the heavens. It's as though the sky itself has nodded in agreement. The meadow breathes. The night deepens. The moon, ancient and knowing, watches over them both. Eventually, the fire dies down. The last ember flickers, then fades into the cool dark. The world feels endless and still. Finn closes his eyes, resting his head on his backpack. Jake curls beside him, warm and soft, his slow breathing blending with the rhythm of the night. There is no more need for words, no more quests to chase. Only the soft hum of existence, gentle, patient, eternal. And in that hum, everything feels connected. The stars, the soil, the forgotten tales, the quiet friendship between a boy and his dog, Oz. As sleep begins to drift over them, the moon dims slightly as if lowering its gaze in blessing. The story continues, not in battles or journeys, but in dreams. The morning rises softly, not with haste, but with grace. Mist curls above the meadow, wrapping each blade of grass in silver. The sun peeks through the horizon like a sleepy eye opening slowly after a long night of dreams. Finn wakes first. His hair is tousled, his face still marked by the folds of his sleeping bag. The world feels quiet, freshly born, as if time itself has paused to listen. Beside him, Jake snores gently, a low, rolling hum that fits perfectly with the distant trickle of water. Somewhere beyond the tall reeds, a river whispers. Finn stands and stretches. His body feels light, like the air itself might lift him. There's something about this morning. The way the wind smells of dew and mint, the way the sky holds a soft,
pearly glow that makes him feel as though the whole land is breathing in unison. He walks toward the sound,
following the river's murmur through a grove of silver-leaf trees. The trunks shimmer faintly as though remembering the light of stars even in daylight. When he reaches the riverbank, he pauses. The water is impossibly clear, so clear that he can see not only the pebbles beneath, but something else shimmering faintly in the depths, memories. Faint images drift past like reflections on glass. Faces, moments, adventures long gone. He sees himself laughing with Jake, running through forests, meeting friends, facing fears. Every image passes slowly, gently, dissolving into the current. He kneels and dips his hand into the water. It's cool and tender, like touching time itself. Jake arrives, yawning, stretching into a long shape before curling back into himself again. "Morning, dude," he mumbles. Finn smiles faintly.
"Hey, look at this!" He gestures to the river. "It's like..."
It remembers. Jake peers into the water, eyes squinting in curiosity.
"Whoa, that's wild."
"It's like a movie, but for your soul." They both laugh softly. Then silence again. Not empty silence, but the kind that hums with meaning. The river of remembering flows through Ooo like a thread of glass. It doesn't rush or crash. It glides, slow, eternal, carrying the essence of every story the world has ever known. The legends say it was born from the first dream of the first being who ever slept. From that dream, time began to flow. And all who live, every creature, every star, adds a drop of memory to its stream. Finn watches as another vision drifts by. The Ice King's crown, glimmering beneath a stormy sky. For a moment, sorrow touches his chest. But then the image fades, replaced by sunlight and laughter. The river does not cling. It simply carries, and in that carrying, there is wisdom. Pause. He realizes life too is a river. It gathers what we are, what we've seen, what we've felt, and carries it forward, reshaping us with every bend and turn. To fight the current is to exhaust yourself. To flow with it is to understand peace. They sit together on the riverbank, watching the current shimmer. Every now and then, a faint whisper rises from the water. A voice, perhaps from another time. It's not frightening, just gentle. Some are joyous, some sorrowful, but all are tender. Finn listens. At first the voices are indistinct. Then one stands out, faint but familiar. A melody hums through the ripples. Marceline's song. He smiles faintly. "You hear that?" Jake nods slowly.
"Yeah, it's like she's still singing somewhere out there. Maybe she is."
Maybe all songs live forever once they're sung, traveling through time like tiny lights, echoing in rivers, stars, and dreams. Finn dips his fingers again into the flow. "Do you think the river remembers everyone?" Jake leans back, eyes half closed. "Sure, I think it remembers the stuff people forget too, like the quiet moments. The ones nobody talks about," Finn nods.
"Like the feeling when you realize..."
"You're happy and you didn't even notice it happening," Jake grins.
"Exactly, man."
"The river's got all that. The stuff between stuff." Pause. They both fall quiet. The sound of the water feels like breathing. Steady, soothing, eternal. There's something deeply calming about watching water move. It doesn't resist the stones in its way. It curves around them, embraces them, and continues onward. Even the hardest rock is shaped by its gentleness over time. Finn studies the motion, the subtle curves, the glimmers of light dancing across the surface. He remembers how often he fought against life, against change, loss, uncertainty. Every quest he took was an attempt to fix, to conquer, to make the world right. But sitting here, the thought feels lighter.
Maybe the world doesn't need fixing.
Maybe it only needs to be seen, loved, and allowed to flow. Jake flicks a pebble into the stream. "You know, buddy," he says softly, "the thing about flow is, it's not about control.
It's about trust.
Like when I stretch, I don't think about how far I can go.
I just go," Finn smiles.
You make it sound easy, Jake chuckles. It kinda is if you stop trying to make it easy. Pause. The words linger like mist. Finn gazes at his reflection, his face rippling, merging with the sky above. He realizes how everything overlaps. The river, the clouds, the memories, himself. There's no real border between them, just endless blending. Perhaps the secret of peace is not separation, but union. As the day grows warmer, sunlight deepens the color of the river. Beneath its surface, faint lights shimmer, tiny orbs like sleeping stars. Finn leans closer. What are those? Jake tilts his head. Maybe memories too deep to surface. The quiet ones that still glow. They watch as one of the lights drifts upward, breaks the surface, and dissolves into air. A faint feeling fills Finn's heart. Not sadness, not joy, but something beyond both. A feeling of completeness. He wonders if those lights are what become of dreams when they're ready to be let go, when they've finished, teaching what they were meant to teach. The
river keeps flowing. The sound becomes hypnotic.
It seems to carry not just memories, but the rhythm of time itself. The more they listen, the more the present moment expands, stretching wide enough to hold all past and future at once. Pause. Finn closes his eyes. He imagines his younger self wading into this same stream, laughing, splashing, fearless. He realizes that every version of him, child, adventurer, wanderer, dreamer, is still flowing within this same current.
None are lost.
They've simply changed form, blended into the river of who he has become. And perhaps that is what remembering truly means. Not clinging to what was, but recognizing it as part of what is. As afternoon light softens into gold, the river becomes quieter. The wind shifts, brushing gently through the reeds. Finn and Jake sit in silence, watching the reflections flicker like living paintings. Jake's voice breaks the stillness, calm and slow.
You ever think about how everything in kind of talks? Even when it's not talking, Finn nods.
Yeah, the trees creak, the water hums, even the mountains sigh sometimes. Exactly, Jake says, stretching lazily.
I think that's the universe trying to say something. But it's not words, it's feeling, vibe talk. Finn laughs quietly.
So what's it saying now? Jake closes his eyes. I think it's saying, you can rest. You've done enough. Pause. The words hit something deep in Finn's heart. They feel like truth. Not a command, not advice, but simple truth. He lets out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. The tension that once lived between his shoulders seems to dissolve into the sound of flowing water. For the first time in a long while, he feels completely weightless, like the current itself has carried away all the noise of worry and purpose. This is not the end of adventure. It's the part of the story that allows the heart to breathe. Evening arrives again, soft and lilac-colored. Fireflies begin to blink in the reeds, reflecting like tiny stars upon the water's skin. The river continues to flow, endlessly, silently, weaving every memory into its song. Finn and Jake lie back on the grass, their heads close, their minds calm. The stars begin to shimmer overhead, their light merging with the last glimmers on the river's surface. Finn whispers, "Do you think we'll remember all this?" Jake answers softly, "Nah, but the river will." Pause, and somehow that's enough. The current hums a lullaby older than time, carrying stories into the horizon. The night deepens once more, and the gentle rhythm of water becomes the sound of breathing, of resting, of being. The sun has slipped low, painting the world in bronze and rose. Beyond the river of remembering, a wide valley opens. Vast, silent, and filled with the scent of dust and wild flowers. It's a place both solemn and peaceful, where the wind seems to carry the breath of centuries. Finn and Jake walk slowly down the slope. The grass brushes their knees, whispering against their legs. As they move, faint shapes begin to emerge from the haze, statues carved from ancient stone, half covered in vines and thyme. Some are tall and noble, their faces serene.
Others are broken, their features smoothed away by wind and rain. This place feels heavy, Finn says quietly. Jake nods. Yeah, but like
Good heavy.
Like the air knows stories. Pause. They stop before a statue of a warrior, sword in hand, face turned toward the horizon.
There's no name inscribed, no plaque, no legend. Just stone, weathered and patient. Finn brushes moss from the base and whispers, "Who were you?" The wind stirs gently in reply.
A faint hum moves through the valley. Not a voice, but something deeper.
The sound of memory without words. They walk further, and more figures rise from the earth. A mage holding a staff of crystal, a giant frozen mid-step, a small hero with a crooked grin.
None are named. None are remembered by history.
Yet each radiates a quiet dignity, as if content to rest unseen. Finn runs his hand along a cracked pedestal. So many heroes, he murmurs.
And nobody knows who they are. Jake stretches, squinting at the distant peaks.
Maybe that's the point, man. Maybe being remembered isn't the goal. Finn looks thoughtful.
Then what is?
Jake smiles faintly. Just being part of the story while it's happening. Pause. They keep walking. The air feels sacred. Not holy in the grand sense, but intimately still, like the inside of a temple built by time itself. The sunlight fades into gold dust falling across the statues like a final blessing. Finn feels a strange peace here. Once the idea of being forgotten would have frightened him. The thought that all his adventures might vanish into silence. But now, surrounded by these silent heroes, he understands something different. To be forgotten by others doesn't mean you cease to exist. It means you've become part of the world, returned to the soil, the air, the song of the wind. Every deed becomes dust. Yes, but dust becomes earth. And earth nourishes new stories. Jake, ever curious, presses his ear against one of the statues.
You can kind of hear something, he says softly. Finn kneels beside him.
At first, there's only silence. Then a faint vibration, a hum like a heartbeat deep within the rock. It's not language. It's something older. It feels like gratitude. Jake whispers, "They're still here."
Not gone, just quiet. Finn closes his eyes.
Maybe that's what resting really means. Not ending, just quiet. Pause. The hum grows fainter, blending with the sigh of the wind. It's as if the valley itself is breathing, exhaling centuries of stories, inhaling new beginning. Every statue seems to lean slightly toward the horizon, as though watching the endless sunset. And perhaps they are, waiting not for glory, but for stillness. To forget is often seen as loss, a vanishing, a void. But in the language of the valley, forgetting is transformation. When a story is remembered too tightly, it becomes rigid, fixed, unable to grow. But when it's released, it becomes like wind, free to move through countless forms, to inspire new tales in subtle ways. Finn realizes this as he gazes at the statues. Each hero, though forgotten, has become something greater than their legend. They have become soil, They've nourished new stories, new dreams. Their courage, though nameless, has turned into the courage of the world itself. Pause. He turns to Jake. You ever think?
Maybe the stories we live aren't really ours.
Jake raises an eyebrow. What do you mean?
I mean, maybe we just borrow them. For a while.
We carry them, live them, then they go back into the world for someone else to find. Jake grins. Yeah, like passing the mic at a cosmic jam session. Finn laughs softly.
Exactly.
And maybe that's why the heroes rest peacefully here. They've played their verse in the song of existence, and now they listen. The melody goes on without them, but their note still hums in every chord. The valley darkens as twilight descends. The statues glow faintly in the blue light, their shadows long and gentle. Finn and Jake sit between two of them, watching the stars appear. Finn says, "When I was a kid, I thought being a hero meant changing everything."
Fixing everything.
Making sure people remembered you, Jake chuckles softly.
Yeah, I remember.
You were all about the glory days, Finn smiles. But now, I think being a hero might just mean showing up, being kind, trying your best.
And when it's done...
Letting it go, Jake nods.
That's deep, dude. Like heroism as chill acceptance. Yeah, Finn says.
Not about shining forever, just burning bright enough for the moment you're given. Pause. The statues seem to nod in agreement, their faces bathed in soft starlight. The wind quiets. The valley grows hushed. There's a strange beauty in knowing that everything, even greatness, eventually dissolves. It means nothing is wasted, not a single act of courage, not a single breath of kindness. It all becomes part of something infinite. As the night deepens, Finn notices something shimmering above the valley. Faint constellations he's never seen before. They shift gently, forming shapes that mirror the statues below. Jake looks up. Whoa, it's like the stars remember what the world forgot. Finn's eyes widen. The constellations glow brighter, tracing outlines of warriors, adventurers, dreamers. For a moment it feels as if the sky itself is telling their stories. Softly, wordlessly, without demand. Perhaps remembrance doesn't mean being spoken of. Perhaps it means being woven into the quiet pattern of the cosmos. Finn whispers, "Maybe this is what happens to all stories." They rise, they shine for a while.
Then they join the stars, Jake nods. Kinda poetic, man. Kinda true, too. Pause. They both lie back in the grass.
The air smells of rain, though the sky is clear. Somewhere in the distance, an owl calls, a sound that seems to echo forever. The valley hums gently, a lullaby of forgotten names. The heroes rest, the stars shimmer, and between them Finn and Jake breathe, alive, small, and infinite all at once. Eventually, sleep tugs at their eyes. The grass beneath them feels like a soft blanket, the air cool and kind. Finn's last thought before drifting off is simple, a thought that feels like both a question and an answer. If everything we are is meant to fade, then maybe fading is the most natural thing of all. Jake's voice drifts in the dark, slow and warm.
Yeah, like waves, man.
They fade, but they keep the ocean moving. Pause, the valley sighs, a long, gentle breath. The stars pulse softly, their light reflecting off the stone faces of countless heroes. In that moment, all things, all remembered and forgotten, are equal. The world sleeps peacefully. The morning never comes here. Not because the world refuses it, but because it doesn't need it. In this forest, light and shadow rest together in quiet agreement. A golden twilight that never fades. A peace that hums in amber tones. Finn and Jake enter slowly, their footsteps softened by moss that glows faintly underfoot. Above them, the canopy shimmers in hues of violet and gold, the leaves translucent like stained glass. The air smells of pine and sweetness, touched with something old, like pages of an unread book Pause. They move without speaking. The silence here is thick but not heavy. It's a listening silence, the kind that invites reflection rather than demands it. Every sound, a creaking branch, a distant bird call, the faint shuffle of leaves, feels deliberate, like a note in a song played for no one in particular. Jake's voice, when it comes, feels almost too loud for the place.
Whoa, it's like sunset got stuck and decided to stay forever. Finn smiles faintly.
Yeah, like the day didn't want to die. Jake looks around. Maybe it didn't have to. Maybe night and day just figured out how to share the sky. Pause. The thought lingers between them like drifting pollen. They walk on. The light moves gently, shimmering on their skin, painting them in honey-colored warmth. It feels like walking through memory, through all the moments of life that are neither beginning nor end, but that precious in-between where awareness deepens. After a while, they come across a clearing. In its center stands a single massive tree. Older than mountains, its bark etched with faint symbols that pulse like heartbeats. The roots stretch wide, curling into the earth as if holding the world together. Finn steps closer. The air around it hums softly, like the pause before a whispered secret. He lays a hand on the trunk. It's warm, not from sunlight, but from life itself. He feels something stir beneath his palm. Not movement, but memory.
A flicker of sound, a voice.
Not quite speech, but something he can feel in his chest. The tree speaks in quiet impressions. Laughter in rain, the scent of wood smoke, the color of dreams before waking. It remembers everything. The rise and fall of kingdoms, the songs of forgotten creatures, even the soft footfalls of those who walked this forest long before Finn and Jake. Jake presses a paw to the trunk and closes his eyes.
It's remembering us too, he murmurs.
Like we're already part of its story, Finn nods. Maybe everything that touches this tree becomes memory. Maybe that's how it grows. Pause. They sit beneath its shade, feeling the hum flow through the ground, up through their legs and into their hearts. It's like sitting inside time itself, not moving, not still, just being. Dusk is a strange kind of wisdom. It doesn't rush like day, nor does it vanish like night. It lingers, patient, balanced, understanding both beginnings and endings without needing to choose. As Finn gazes up at the canopy, he realizes how dusk mirrors life itself. We spend so much time chasing daylight, clarity, purpose, achievement, and fearing the night, loss, silence, unknown. Yet the most peaceful moments dwell in between. Dusk is where light learns to let go. Pause, he whispers, almost to himself. Maybe this forest is what peace looks like when it forgets to end. Jake chuckles softly.
Peace with no expiration date.
I like that. They both fall into easy quiet. The light shifts subtly as clouds pass overhead, but the color never truly changes, always hovering in that perfect in-between. The air glows with the same calm certainty of a deep breath held without strain. Here, the world doesn't fade. It glows. They follow a narrow path deeper into the forest. The moss brightens with each step, glowing faintly like footsteps of gold behind them. At the path's edge, they come upon a pool, still as glass, reflecting the sky's eternal twilight. Finn kneels at the water's edge. His reflection looks back at him, familiar, yet softened by the gentle light. There's something different about his eyes in this mirror. They hold no restlessness, no need for answers, just calm observation. Jake leans over, his reflection rippling beside Finn's. We look, chill man, like we've finally figured something out. Maybe we have, Finn says. Maybe it's that there's nothing to figure out. Jake grins.
Heavy. Pause. They watch the surface ripple.
Images drift faintly within it. Scenes from their journeys, faces, moments, laughter. Each appears, then fades gently back into stillness. The pool doesn't cling to any reflection for long, and Finn realizes something quietly profound. The forest isn't trapped in dusk because it's afraid of change. It's resting in it, honoring the beauty of transition itself. Perhaps that's the lesson of this place, that we don't have to rush toward clarity or away from mystery. Both can coexist. Light can love shadow. Endings can love beginnings. As they continue walking, the air thickens with a faint melody, not sung, but felt. The trees seem to breathe in rhythm, their branches swaying in gentle synchronization. The forest speaks again, not in words, but in harmony. Finn feels it through his chest, through his skin. You have chased the sun and feared the dark, but peace was always here, between them. He doesn't know if the message is real, or if it rises from within his own heart. Perhaps it doesn't matter. In this place, boundaries between inner and outer fade. Jake stretches his arms, eyes half closed. Feels like the trees are saying, "Hey man, stop trying so hard." Finn laughs.
Yeah, like take a nap already, Jake chuckles.
Nature's bedtime story. Pause. They both lie down in a patch of moss. The ground feels soft, warm, alive. The branches overhead sway gently, the leaves glowing like lanterns. There's no true sun here, no true night, only the steady pulse of time moving at its own patient pace. Lying there, Finn begins to drift. The air hums softly around him. Shapes move faintly behind his eyelids. Not dreams exactly, but memories melting into imagination. He sees their old adventures again, the dungeons, the monsters, the laughter. But this time they seem distant, softened by warmth. He realizes the forest isn't showing him new things. It's reminding him that every story he's lived already holds peace inside it. Even chaos, even struggle, had its moments of stillness. Breaths between action, where the soul quietly whispered, "I am." Jake's voice drifts from beside him, slow and hazy. "You ever think maybe we're dreaming right now?" Finn answers softly. "Maybe dreaming is just what happens when we stop pretending to be awake." Pause. They both laugh. A slow, sleepy sound. The forest seems to laugh with them, a rustle of leaves that could almost be joy. Time stretches. Minutes feel like hours. Hours like the space between heartbeats. Yet neither of them feels impatient. There is no before or after in this place, only now. And in that now, they begin to understand something deeper about the rhythm of existence. Everything, from stars to rivers to thought, moves in cycles of expansion and rest. To live fully is to honor both. Finn whispers, half to the trees, half to himself. The world doesn't rush, even when we do. It's patient enough for everyone to arrive in their own time, Jake nods lazily. Yeah, man.
Maybe that's what eternity is, just
Taking your time. Pause. The forest breathes. The twilight deepens but never darkens. It holds them, not as guests, but as returning pieces of itself. Eventually they rise. The moss clings softly to their hands, leaving faint gold dust behind, as if the forest has marked them gently for remembering. At the edge of the clearing, Finn looks back one last time. The trees shimmer faintly in the amber light. The great tree in the center glows like a heart within the forest's body. He feels a pulse of gratitude, not to the forest, but with it, Jake says quietly, "This place doesn't want us to stay forever." Finn nods. Yeah, it just wanted us to see what peace looks like when it stops trying to be anything else. Pause. They walk on, following the soft path as it fades back toward open sky. The air behind them hums a last note of dusk, a tone that feels like acceptance. The forest fades into mist, but its calm lingers within them, steady and golden. The air grows thin as Finn and Jake climb higher. The mossy softness of the forest gives way to cold stone and long stretches of pale cloud. The horizon stretches infinitely, washed in grey and silver. Each step echoes faintly, as though sound itself has grown tired of travelling so far. They arrive at dawn, or what passes for dawn here. The sky glows a dim, muted gold. Below them lies a city carved into the bones of the mountains. Enormous figures lie motionless among the peaks, giants of stone frozen in poses of rest. Some recline against cliffs, others curl beneath the earth, their limbs forming the foundations of bridges and towers. It is a city made not by giants, but of them. Pause. The wind moves softly through hollow arches and wide caverns, producing a deep, resonant hum, like a choir asleep, but still singing in its dreams. The sound fills the air with a kind of sacred slowness. Every vibration seems older than memory itself. Finn and Jake stand at the edge, gazing in quiet awe. Jake's voice, small against the vastness. "Dude,
Are they alive?
Finn listens. The hum beneath the silence deepens, a rhythm almost like breathing. The ground rises and falls faintly, slow as centuries. "I think they are," Finn murmurs.
Just sleeping? Pause. They walk deeper into the city.
The giant's forms stretch endlessly, a foot the size of a hill, a hand curled gently around a crumbled spire. Some are covered in moss, others in delicate flowers that grow between ancient cracks. Everywhere they look, life has made its home upon the stillness of these beings. Birds nest in their hair, rivers flow down their sides, and faint trails of light move along their veins, like slow lightning beneath stone. Jake's paw brushes against a wall of granite shaped like a chest. It's warm, faintly pulsing. "They're dreaming," he says softly. Finn nods. "Maybe the world's resting through them." He kneels, pressing his hand to the stone. Beneath the surface, he feels an immense heartbeat. Steady, patient, unfazed by the passage of time. That's when he realizes something simple and beautiful. Stillness isn't the opposite of life. It's part of it. Pause. In a world that constantly moves, stillness feels like defiance. Yet here, among the giants, it feels like wisdom. Finn and Jake wander through colossal arches and silent plazas. The architecture hums with power, yet none of it demands attention. It simply exists, vast and unconcerned with being seen. "Maybe they're not sleeping through time," Finn says quietly.
Maybe they are time. Jake tilts his head. You mean like...
"The world dreams them so it doesn't fall apart." Finn smiles faintly. "Maybe. Or maybe rest this deep keeps everything else moving." Pause. He thinks about their many adventures. The constant movement, the battles, the laughter, the urgency of always doing. He realizes how rarely they've ever truly stopped. How rarely anyone does. The giants teach by example that power doesn't always roar. Sometimes it hums beneath the earth. Sometimes the most eternal acts are the quietest ones. Pause. They reach a great square where a colossal head rests, its eyes closed, its expression calm. Around it, ancient inscriptions spiral outward, carved in circles of runes so weathered that only the faintest traces remain. Finn kneels to read what little he can. The language is unfamiliar, but the feeling it conveys is clear. A lullaby written in stone. He translates softly, guessing, "To rest is to remember the beginning. To sleep is to hold the world without closing one's hands." The words echo faintly through the cavernous air. Jake lies down against one of the giant's fingers, his body tiny by comparison. "Man, imagine being so big that your nap becomes a mountain range," Finn laughs quietly. Maybe the Earth was born from someone's nap. Jake closes his eyes. That'd be a chill way to create a planet. Pause. The wind carries a deep tone through the arches again. Not music, but movement turned sound. It's the resonance of ages, the memory of breath turned into stone. The entire city seems to inhale. Then, after a long silence, it exhales. The rhythm is slower than any heartbeat, yet somehow alive. Finn feels it flow through him. The message that movement and rest are not enemies. They complete each other like inhale and exhale, day and dusk. As they climb a staircase that winds up one giant's shoulder, the view opens before them. The city stretches endlessly, layers of carved bodies, temples grown from ribs, bridges arched over sleeping hands. From here, the world looks frozen, but only because it's resting between heartbeats. Pause. Finn sits on the giant's shoulder and lets his legs dangle over the edge. Jake sits beside him, the wind brushing softly against their faces. You know, Jake says, when I was younger, I used to think sleeping was a waste of time. Like I could be out adventuring or cooking pancakes or jamming on my viola. Finn nods. I used to think that too. But then maybe sleep isn't about wasting time.
Maybe it's about keeping the world alive in a different way, Jake chuckles.
Like a cosmic nap keeping everything balanced. Exactly, Finn says.
Even heroes have to rest. Maybe the giants are the world's reminder of that. Pause. He looks out at the horizon.
The sky swells with faint golden mist. Far away, he sees a mountain rise and fall, just once, so slowly it could be mistaken for imagination. The world itself breathes. They spend what feels like hours there, though time doesn't seem to move in any usual way. There are no shadows shifting, no sun rising or falling, only the constant hum of peace. In that vast stillness, Finn's thoughts quiet. The noise of questions, fears, and memories fades until all that's left is presence. And within that presence, something ancient stirs.
Not a voice, but a knowing. He feels it ripple through the stone beneath him. Sleep is not escape.
It is the remembering of what we were before movement began. Pause. He closes his eyes and lets the meaning wash over him. Sleep is not weakness. Rest is not idleness. They are both acts of creation. Moments where existence folds inward, gathering strength to unfold again. Jake murmurs beside him, half asleep. Maybe that's why the universe dreams at all, so it can see itself resting. Finn smiles. Yeah, maybe dreaming is how eternity stretches. Pause. As they prepare to leave, they find a narrow cavern leading downward, a tunnel glowing faintly with amber light. They follow it, descending deep beneath the city. The hum grows louder, rhythmic and slow. At the cavern's end lies a vast heart, not of flesh, but of crystal, half buried in stone. It beats faintly, sending ripples of light through the chamber walls. Finn steps forward, feeling the pulse through the ground. Jake stands beside him, eyes wide. This is it, Finn whispers. The heart of the giants. Jake tilts his head.
You think it's dreaming of us?
Finn smiles softly. Maybe, or maybe we're dreaming of it. Pause. They both place their hands on the crystal surface. It feels cool at first, then warm, like touching the heartbeat of an old friend. Images flash faintly inside the crystal, forests growing,
Oceans rising, stars falling asleep in the sky. The heart hums.
and for a moment they both understand. Everything alive, from the smallest spark to the grandest mountain, beats in rhythm with this same pulse. Rest. Motion, growth, decay, all are parts of one slow,
eternal breath, the pause. They linger there for a long time, or maybe no time at all.
When they finally step back into the open air, the light has changed subtly. The city looks softer now, its giants bathed in a pale glow like moonlight. Nothing stirs, and yet everything feels awake in its own way. Finn turns to Jake. "You feel that?" Jake nods slowly. "Yeah, like the world's still sleeping, but it's smiling in its sleep." They stand together in silence. The hum fades to a faint vibration beneath their feet, steady and infinite. Finn takes one last look at the giants, at their calm, eternal faces, and whispers, "Rest well." Then he and Jake turn toward the valley below. The path leads downward into rolling mist glowing faintly blue. Pause. The wind carries the sound of distant breathing, slow, deep, reassuring. It feels like a promise. As they leave the city of sleeping giants behind, Finn reflects on what they've learned, that stillness isn't the end of motion, but its resting pulse, that every breath deserves its pause. The world's peace doesn't come from endless action, but from the quiet balance between doing and being. Jake hums softly as they walk.
You think when we fall asleep, we're helping keep the world together too?
Finn smiles.
Yeah, every dream's a thread in the big nap blanket of existence. Jake laughs.
"Then I'm doing my part, buddy." Pause. They walk on into the mist, their laughter fading into the hum of the world's resting heart. It begins as a sound, faint, musical like wind passing through 1,000 silver strings. Then the mist parts and Finn and Jake see it, a river that glows softly in the moonlight, winding through the valley like a liquid mirror. The water doesn't rush. It flows with impossible grace, moving so slowly it seems at times to stand still. Each ripple gleams with light, not from the moon above, but from something deep within. The air smells faintly of rain and sleep. Somewhere, distant frogs hum in unison, like monks chanting in their dreams. Jake stretches and yawns. "Man, even the rivers here are sleepy." Finn kneels at the bank, dipping his fingers into the water. It's warm, almost body temperature. And when he looks closer, he sees reflections not of the landscape, but of memories.
His first sword.
The treehouse at dawn. The gleam of adventure in Jake's eyes, but also quieter things. The look of the sky after a battle. The feeling of coming home tired but safe. The hush of night when everything is okay, as he draws back, heart slow and soft in his chest. "Jake, I think this river's made of dreams." Jake leans over. "Dreams, huh? That explains why it smells like pancakes and rain." Finn laughs quietly. Maybe every dream anyone's ever had ends up here, flowing together. Pause. They follow the river's edge for a while. The ground beneath their feet feels spongy and light, covered in dew that glows faintly with its own light. Every few steps they see images flicker across the water. Faces, places, whole stories drifting downstream. A kingdom built of glass.
A child learning to fly. A field of golden flowers swaying beneath invisible music. Jake pauses, staring at one of the visions.
"Hey, isn't that the time you tried to teach me sword moves and I fell into a bush?" Finn grins.
Guess the river's got a good memory. Jake chuckles.
Or a good sense of humor. Pause. They walk until they find a bend in the river where the current slows even more. Here the surface is pure mirror, so still that it reflects the stars perfectly. But when Finn looks closer, the stars aren't just above, they're below too.
As if the sky itself is sleeping beneath the water. It's hard to tell which direction the world is facing anymore, up or down, real or reflection. For a moment he feels dizzy, then calm.
Then everything becomes still again. Finn sits at the riverbank, watching the soft shimmer of dreams flow by. He realizes something quietly profound. The river doesn't cling to what it carries. Each image drifts in, shines briefly, and passes away without resistance. The river remembers everything, but holds nothing. He whispers, "Maybe that's what peace really is. Letting things come and go without trying to own them." Jake nods slowly. "Yeah, man.
Like the river doesn't argue with what it sees.
It just keeps moving." "Exactly," Finn says. It knows that reflection isn't permanence. It's just the moment saying hello before it fades. Pause. He thinks about his own memories, the friends they've lost, the places that no longer exist. He used to hold them tightly, afraid that letting go meant forgetting. But watching the river now, he understands. Letting go doesn't erase the past. It honors it because only through release can beauty continue flowing. Pause. Further downstream, they find a bridge, not made of wood or stone, but of light. It arcs over the water like a ribbon spun from moonbeams. Each step upon it glows faintly underfoot, leaving soft ripples of silver behind. Jake sniffs the air.
Kind of smells like dream pie, Finn laughs. You dream about pie, Jake grins.
Yeah, but the good kind, the one that doesn't end. Pause. They cross the bridge slowly, and halfway across the world shifts. The river below begins to change. Instead of showing memories, it now reflects possibilities, things that haven't happened yet, but could. Finn sees himself older, walking through a golden field, with no sword, no armor, just peace. Jake sees himself teaching young pups to stretch and laugh. They both see moments of quiet joy. Lives lived slowly, without the need to chase or prove anything. The reflections shimmer and dissolve. Finn stands still, gazing down. It's like the river's showing what could be.
If we learn to rest, Jake's ears droop gently. Man, even my future dreams take naps. Pause. They reach the far side of the bridge, where the river widens into a glowing pool surrounded by smooth stones.
The air hums gently, filled with the soft drone of unseen insects. Finn sits by the edge and looks out over the water. "Jake," he says, "what if the whole universe dreams through rivers like this? What if every stream, every cloud, every bit of wind is just part of a big dream?" Jake stretches lazily, his voice low. "Then I guess we're the dreamers dreaming the dream." "Or maybe the dream dreaming us," Finn replies. Pause. They both laugh softly, the sound barely disturbing the air. Then Jake lies down beside the river, paws folded behind his head.
Feels like the kind of place you could nap for 1,000 years, Finn smiles.
Or wake up for the first time. Pause. The water laps quietly against the stones. Each ripple shimmers in rhythm with their breathing. In, out, soft, slow. The longer they watch, the more the river begins to mirror thoughts rather than images, shapes without form, feelings without words. The kind of memories that live beneath consciousness. The first sunlight you ever saw, the warmth of being held, the comfort of knowing you belong. The dream river shows them not what they've done, but who they've always been beneath it all. As the night deepens, the water begins to hum, faintly but distinctly. Finn leans closer, and for the first time the sound becomes language. It whispers softly, like 1,000 voices speaking as one. You are not the storm or the stillness. You are the space where both can rest. Finn closes his eyes, listening. The words feel like warmth, spreading through his chest. Jake murmurs, "That's deep, man."
Like river deep, Finn smiles, eyes half open.
Maybe that's why it never stops flowing. It knows there's no end, just change. Pause. The whisper continues, slower now. All things dream of peace, even those who chase forever. And then silence again, but not emptiness. the kind of silence that holds meaning like the sky holds stars. Finn begins to feel drowsy. The warmth of the river seeps through him like the pull of gravity. He lies back beside Jake, staring at the mirrored sky. He wonders if the stars above are awake or dreaming too, if sleep is just another kind of light moving inward instead of outward. He whispers, "Jake, what if every time we sleep we return to this river and just forget when we wake up?" Jake yawns. "Then I guess we're frequent swimmers." They both laugh quietly, their voices fading into the hum of water. Pause. Slowly, Finn's thoughts begin to blur. The river's glow grows brighter, almost white. Shapes form in the air. Drifting fragments of dreams. The Candy Kingdom. Lady Rainicorn's laughter. BMO humming softly in a window. He feels the water calling, not with sound, but with presence. He lets his hand trail into it one last time. For an instant, he sees a reflection that isn't his. A figure made of light, smiling gently, perhaps an echo of what he'll one day become. Then it fades, replaced by the quiet rhythm of flow. Finn understands now what the dream river teaches. That peace isn't a place to arrive at, it's a current. And the more you resist it, the more you tire. But if you surrender, if you float, the river carries you effortlessly to where you already belong. He breathes deeply, letting go of everything. Worry, memory, even thought. In that surrender, he feels lighter than air. Jake murmurs, eyes closed. "We're part of the current now, huh?" Finn nods softly. "Yeah, always were." Pause. The dream river glows a little brighter, as though acknowledging their understanding. Then slowly, it returns to stillness. Hours, or maybe eternities, pass. When they finally rise, the river has dimmed to a soft silver thread winding through mist. The stars have faded, but the light in their hearts remains. Jake stretches, yawning. "Man, I feel like I slept for 1,000,000 years and woke up softer." Finn smiles.
Maybe that's what dreams do, smooth the edges of our souls. They turn away from the water.
The path ahead is faint, shimmering like a thought not yet formed. The air carries the scent of dawn. As they walk, Finn glances back once more. The river gleams behind them, winding quietly into infinity. And for the first time, he realizes it isn't just flowing through the world, it's flowing through him. Pause. The path curls upward through the last folds of mist. The light is pale and gold, the kind that softens everything it touches. At first, Finn and Jake think the sound is only the breeze, a whisper moving through hollow stone. But as they climb higher, the chimes grow clearer. Each note hangs in the air for a long, impossible moment before fading, leaving a warmth behind that can almost be felt on the skin. The Temple of Quiet Bells stands at the mountain's crown, half buried in drifting fog. It isn't grand like the castles of Ooo. It's simple, round, built of pale stone, its walls covered in slow-growing moss. Bells of all shapes and sizes hang from thin strings that shimmer faintly in the light. Some are made of silver, others of glass or carved bone. Each one moves gently, but almost imperceptibly. When Finn steps inside, the sound shifts. No longer a melody, but a hum that fills the chest, a resonance that seems to echo from within. Jake exhales. "Whoa."
"Even my thoughts sound quieter here," Finn nods.
"It's like the air's been listening for 1,000 years." Pause. They walk through the temple slowly. The floor is cool underfoot. The smell of incense lingers faintly, and something like sandalwood and rain-soaked stone. Light filters through narrow windows, falling across hundreds of small bells that sway just enough to breathe. But what strikes them most isn't the sound. It's the space between the sounds. Every ring fades into silence so soft it feels alive. The quiet isn't empty, it's full, like a cup brimming with invisible meaning. Finn stops in the center of the hall.
Jake, he whispers, listen to the silence after the bell. Jake tilts his head. Ha, it's like the bell's echo keeps going even after it stops. Yeah, Finn says.
Like silence remembers it. Pause. He sits cross-legged on the stone floor, eyes closed. The hum seeps into him. Every thought that rises to the noise of adventure, of worry,
of memory, softens in the presence of this stillness. He realizes how much space silence holds.
How it's not the opposite of sound, but its completion. Without silence, music would have nowhere to rest, pause. A monk-like figure, or perhaps just a shadow shaped by the light, appears near the far wall. It doesn't move toward them, but speaks in a voice that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. Every sound longs to return to stillness. Every thought longs to return to peace. Finn opens his eyes. Who are you? The figure smiles faintly. No one. I am what remains when words grow tired. Jake squints.
That's
pretty cryptic, dude. The shadow laughs softly, like a bell struck by moonlight. Then hear, instead of understand. Pause. The figure gestures toward a great bronze bell in the temple's heart. This bell has not been struck for 1,000 years, it says. Would you like to hear it? Finn nods slowly. The shadow fades back into the mist, and for a long time, nothing happens. Then, a breeze moves through the temple, barely strong enough to stir a leaf, and the bell hums. The note is low, pure, endless.
It rolls through the air, vibrating in bone and breath.
It doesn't demand attention with Tahita, it invites surrender. Finn and Jake both close their eyes. The sound moves through them like water, dissolving everything solid inside. For a few moments, there's no difference between bell and listener, only vibration. Pause. When the sound fades, the silence that follows feels sacred. Even the air holds its breath, as if unwilling to disturb what has just passed. After a while, Finn whispers, Jake, do you ever feel like the world keeps ringing even when it's quiet? Jake nods. Yeah, man. Like there's this tiny echo inside that never stops. Finn smiles softly.
Maybe that's what we really are. Echoes that remember where they came from. Jake stretches.
So we're like little bells of existence, Finn chuckles. Exactly. Every time we speak, laugh, breathe, it's the universe ringing itself awake. Pause. They sit for a while in quiet thought. Each of them feels a vibration inside, faint but steady. A hum that seems to align with the great bell's fading resonance. It's the same rhythm they heard in the city of sleeping giants. The same pulse they felt beneath the dream river. Everything, from trees to stars to breath, moves to this same cosmic heartbeat. Silence, then, isn't absence. It's participation. It's the moment where existence listens to itself. Pause. As they explore the upper chambers, they find smaller rooms filled with hanging bells. Each is inscribed with a name, a word, or a symbol. Some are cracked, some are perfect. Finn touches one made of frosted glass. It releases a sound like a sigh. The air around him shifts. Suddenly he's surrounded by the faint echo of laughter, a memory of a campfire long ago, Jake snoring softly beside him. He steps back, heart full. Each bell holds a memory, Jake nods slowly. Yeah, like every sound ever made just
keeps echoing. Finn touches another, this one made of crystal shaped like a tear.
It rings faintly, and a cool wind blows past his face, carrying the scent of snow. A flash of memory Marceline's song beneath the stars. Then it fades. Jake watches, eyes soft. Guess even memories need somewhere to rest. Pause. They realize the temple isn't a monument to silence. It's a sanctuary for sound. A place where echoes come to sleep, and maybe, Finn thinks, that's what peace truly is, the rest of all echoes. The moment when everything finally stops needing to speak. Pause. Or later, as the light deepens to amber, Finn asks softly, Jake,
you think we've been chasing peace this whole time?
Jake scratches his head. Maybe, but...
I think peace was chasing us too, Finn smiles.
Yeah, like every bell trying to find its silence again. Pause. He looks up at the ceiling, where hundreds of tiny bells sway in invisible wind. Each one hums faintly, just enough to remind him that movement and stillness can coexist, that sound can be gentle and silence can sing. He realizes that calm doesn't come from escaping noise, but from listening deeply enough to hear the stillness hidden inside it, like Jake's laughter between breaths,
like wind between words,
like the space between heartbeats. Pause. As they prepare to leave, the shadowy figure returns, quieter now, as if made from the same dusk light as the bells. The world speaks in tones, it says, but only the heart can hear its meaning. Finn bows slightly. What should we do with what we've heard?
Carry the silence with you, the voice replies.
Let it ring within, even when the world is loud. For silence is not the end of sound. It is its home. Pause. Then the figure fades completely, leaving behind only the hum of air and the slow rhythm of unseen chimes. Jake exhales. Man, I'm going to miss that guy, Finn smiles. You'll still hear him?
Every time you listen, Jake taps his chest.
Right here, huh? Finn nods. Right there. Pause. As they step outside, the air feels new. Not different, but freshly noticed. The world hums faintly, even in quiet. The wind, the clouds, the beating of their hearts, all chime together like distant bells. They descend slowly, each step echoing softly in the calm. Finn looks back once more at the temple, its walls glowing faintly in the golden light. A final bell rings behind them, a small one, delicate and sweet. Its note lingers, then fades. Jake sighs happily. That was the softest sound I ever heard. Finn smiles. That's 'cause you were finally quiet enough to hear it. Pause. And as the mists rise again, the bells fall silent. Not from ending, but from resting. There is no sunrise here, not truly. Instead, the world seems suspended in that tender moment between night and day. A gentle brightness that never grows sharper. A light that never fades. The garden of eternal morning stretches out like a dream painted in gold and green. Petals shimmer with dew that never falls. Trees hum faintly with the songs of waking birds, though the birds themselves remain unseen. As if the air itself remembers their music and repeats it softly. Finn breathes deeply. The air tastes new. It smells like the start of something. Jake grins, stretching in the warm glow. Yeah, man. Like the world just brushed its teeth. Finn laughs quietly. Yeah, the kind of morning that never ends. Pause. They follow a winding path through the garden. The earth beneath them is soft like woven moss. Butterflies drift lazily through rays of eternal dawn. The sky is neither blue nor pink, but something between. The color of memory, trying to remember itself. They walk without hurry. The air feels thick with calm. Every breath seems to carry a small promise. You have already arrived. Finn stops beside a shallow pool where lotus flowers bloom in slow motion. Each petal unfolds so gradually that it seems to take a lifetime. Yet, when it finally opens, it looks as if it had always been open, waiting only to be noticed. Jake dips a paw in the water. Hey, this pool's warm.
It's like alive. Finn kneels beside him.
His reflection ripples all, and for a heartbeat, he sees not his own face, but countless others, younger, older, braver, wearier. The water whispers softly, a sound like distant rain. Every dawn is an echo of the first light, and every being is a reflection of that dawn. Finn looks up at the endless morning sky.
So, the sun never rises here because it never set?
Jake blinks.
That's trippy, Finn smiles.
Maybe this is what peace feels like, not starting or ending, just being. Pause. The idea soothes him. He remembers all the mornings of his life, adventures, battles, laughter, loss, and realizes they were all fragments of one infinite morning, replaying itself through time, learning to shine through different faces. Every new day wasn't new at all. It was the same light returning to remind the world that beginnings never truly die. As they walk deeper into the garden, they find an ancient tree standing alone in a circle of mist. Its roots spread wide like rivers, and its leaves shimmer in 1,000 shades of dawn. Underneath sits an old figure, part plant, part person, tending to the flowers with hands that glow faintly green. Their face is gentle, lined not with age but with time itself, as if every moment that ever passed had paused here to rest. "Hello," Finn says softly. The figure looks up and smiles.
Ah, the wanderers who follow silence. I've been expecting you, Jake tilts his head.
"You have? We didn't even know we were coming." The caretaker chuckles, the sound like wind moving through reeds. "Few do, yet all travellers who seek peace eventually pass through this garden." They motion toward the endless blossoms. Here, light remembers how to begin again. Pause. Finn sits beside them. "What do you mean?" The caretaker gestures to the lotus pond. "Every petal here blooms from what was once broken. The dew is born from tears that found rest. The morning is made of all the nights that ever learned to forgive themselves." Finn watches the flowers open and close with each slow breath of wind.
So nothing really dies?
"Nothing," the caretaker says softly, "but everything learns to rest." Pause. Jake lies on his back, paws behind his head, eyes half closed.
You know, man,
"I used to think mornings were just for starting things. New adventures, new missions. But now it feels like morning's more about remembering that you get to start again." Finn nods.
yeah, like the world's giving you permission to exist one more time, Oz. He picks a tiny white flower and holds it between his fingers.
"This garden feels like the world's heart right before it wakes up." "Still dreaming but aware," the caretaker hums softly. "That's because this place lives between sleep and awakening. It's where dreams learn to become real, and reality learns to dream again." Finn's eyes soften. "So that's why it never turns to day or night?" "Yes," the caretaker says. "Eternal morning is not a time. It's a balance. It's where potential rests, forever becoming." Jake chuckles.
So it's like
"Cosmic snooze mode?" The caretaker smiles. "Perhaps, but a beautiful one." Pause. They spend what feels like hours, or maybe lifetimes, wandering the garden's golden trails. Each path seems to loop gently back on itself, yet never quite the same way. At one point, Finn sees a stone bench surrounded by vines. When he sits, he feels warmth spread through him.
and visions flicker behind his eyes, younger versions of himself running through Ooo, laughing beside Jake, falling asleep under stars. He sees all those mornings at once, thousands of them.
Each one beginning with the same breath of light, and suddenly He understands he was never chasing a destination. He was always tracing the rhythm of renewal, the endless return to peace. Pause. Jake wakes from a light nap and stretches. You were zoning out, dude.
What did you see?
Finn smiles faintly.
Everything's starting over, like...
Everything's always morning somewhere. Jake nods thoughtfully.
Then I guess that means even the tough stuff gets a sunrise eventually. Yeah, Finn whispers.
Even sadness gets its dawn. Pause. Before they leave, the caretaker invites them to place their hands upon the great dawn tree. Its bark is warm, pulsing faintly like a heartbeat. Every traveler leaves a note of light behind, the caretaker says, a gift for the next who seeks peace. Finn closes his eyes, and he feels a gentle current move through him. Memories, laughter, and rest flowing outward, absorbed by the tree. When he opens his eyes, a new leaf glows faintly on one of its branches. Jake does the same, his glow slightly golden and wobbly.
Does this mean we're, like, part of the tree now?
The caretaker nods. Yes, part of the morning itself. The world will carry your calm wherever it goes. Finn looks up at the endless sky. And the morning will carry us too. Pause. They bow to the caretaker, who smiles and returns to their tending. As they walk away, the sound of humming fills the air. A quiet song,
Ancient and content. Each step feels lighter.
as if they've been washed clean of time itself. As the garden fades behind them, Finn looks at Jake and says softly, "You know,
I think peace isn't something we find once.
it's something we practice every time we wake up." Jake nods. "Yeah, man. Every breath's a new morning," Finn smiles. "Even when it's night," Jake grins. "Especially when it's night." Pause. They both laugh, not loudly, but with that quiet joy that comes from understanding something simple and true. The eternal morning glows around them, stretching softly into forever. It doesn't end because it doesn't need to. The light simply waits, endlessly patient, endlessly kind. A reminder that all beginnings are just the universe taking another gentle breath. And somewhere beyond the horizon, the faint chime of the temple's bells carries through the air, harmonizing with the dawn's song. The garden of eternal morning is not a place to stay forever. It is a promise that peace can bloom again, even after endless darkness. As Finn and Jake step beyond its borders, the morning follows them, tucked into their hearts like a spark that refuses to fade. And as they walk, Finn whispers, "Maybe that's what light really is." The courage to begin again, softly, Jake nods. "Yeah? And to keep beginning, even when you don't need to." They keep walking, carried by the gentle hum of dawn. Pause. The air is different here. Soft, but weightless, as if made of breath itself. The ground beneath Finn and Jake shimmers like starlight reflected in water. Above them, the sky bends and flows, neither night nor day, but something beyond both. They have stepped into the threshold, the place where the world exhales. The path before them is made of translucent stone, glowing faintly from within. It arcs gently through an ocean of mist, stretching endlessly forward, vanishing into a horizon that isn't there. Jake squints.
So this is the bridge between dreams, huh?
Finn nods, though his voice is hushed.
Yeah, it feels like...
The space between thoughts. Pause. Every step they take sends a ripple through the air, as though the bridge itself remembers every traveler who ever crossed. The sound of their footsteps doesn't echo. It dissolves like pebbles thrown into a pond of silence. Far below, faint outlines of worlds drift. Some familiar, some strange. The Land of Ooo glimmers like a memory. Beyond it, Vast shapes move in slow motion, mountains breathing, stars folding inward, entire dreams blooming and fading in moments. Finn gazes down.
Are those dreams?
Jake peers beside him. Looks like it.
Whoa, that one's me surfing a cloud made of pancakes.
Finn laughs softly. Even your dreams are chill. Pause. The bridge hums faintly beneath their feet. Not a song, but a vibration. It feels alive, aware, curious. Each time Finn breathes, it brightens slightly. When he exhales, it dims. It's reacting to us, he murmurs. Jake tilts his head. Maybe it knows we're half asleep? Finn thinks for a moment. Maybe it knows we're awake and dreaming. Both at once. The realization feels soft but immense. Perhaps this bridge doesn't separate worlds. It connects the two halves of every soul, the waking self and the dreaming one. Pause. They walk further, and shapes begin to appear in the mist. Memories half-formed, voices whispering.
A field of stars.
A distant laugh.
A door that opens onto nothing but wind. Jake slows down. Hey, Finn.
Do you ever wonder if we dream the world or if the world dreams us? Finn smiles faintly. Maybe both. Maybe it's like a loop. We dream the world and the world dreams us back. Jake grins. A dream exchange program. They both laugh quietly. But in that laughter is something profound. The kind of joy that doesn't need to be explained. Pause. Halfway across the bridge, they find a figure waiting. Not standing, but floating just above the surface, their form shifting like smoke and moonlight. When they speak, the voice is calm and layered, like multiple whispers speaking in unison. Welcome, wanderers of morning and dusk. You've walked through silence and light. Do you now seek to walk through sleep itself? Finn bows his head slightly. We just follow where peace takes us. Then peace has brought you home. The figure gestures toward the endless mist below. Here lies the dreaming of all things, every thought, every memory, every possibility. To walk this bridge is to balance between what was and what might be. Jake scratches his chin.
Sounds complicated. The figure smiles faintly. Not complicated. Complete. Pause. They motion with a hand, and suddenly the bridge widens into a vast platform made of crystal light.
Floating orbs hover all around, each glowing softly with its own hue. These, the figure says, are the dreams of the living.
Every creature, every mind, even the smallest leaf already dreams in its own way.
Touch one and you will glimpse what it sees. Finn steps forward, curious. He reaches for a pale blue orb that drifts nearby. When his fingers brush it, he gasps. The world around him shifts. He stands in a tiny nest, looking out through the eyes of a newborn bird. The sky above is enormous, golden, endless. There is fear, but also wonder. Then the vision fades and he's back on the bridge. Jake watches, wide-eyed.
Whoa, what was it like?
Finn smiles softly.
It was pure.
Like being new again. Pause. The gatekeeper tilts their head. Every dream is a reflection of desire. Not the wanting kind, but the becoming kind. Dreams are the way the universe rehearses its own creation. Finn listens, feeling a deep stillness form in his chest. So dreaming isn't just imagination, it's how existence remembers how to be. Precisely, the gatekeeper says.
To rest is to dissolve into that remembering.
The dream does not forget you.
It carries you, Jake nods slowly. That's actually kind of comforting. Pause. They sit on the glowing platform, legs dangling over the mist.
The gatekeeper joins them, though their form flickers between solidity and transparency. Every being, the gatekeeper murmurs, walks this bridge each night.
Some run across without seeing it.
Others fall asleep halfway and forget the path. But a rare few, remember. They bring back a piece of the dream to the waking world. They carry light into shadow, Finn gazes into the fog below. I think I've been on this bridge before.
I just didn't know it, Jake smiles.
Me too, man.
I think we all have. Pause. As they continue walking, the mist begins to glow from below.
Shapes start to form, mirrors made of water, floating in the air. Each one reflects not the body, but the inner state, memories, fears, kindness, regrets, all swirling gently in liquid light. Finn pauses before one. It shows him holding his sword, but the blade is made of light, and instead of fighting, he's using it to guide others through darkness. He touches the surface. I used to think I had to fight to make things better.
But maybe all I needed was to shine, Jake grins. That's the spirit, bro. You're like a lantern hero. They both chuckle, but the moment feels sacred. Pause. Nearby.
Jake looks into his own reflection, but instead of himself, he sees countless versions of his body stretched across different dreams. A cloud, a wave, a mountain, a song. He laughs softly. Guess even my dreams can't stick to one shape. The reflection ripples and answers in his own voice. That's your gift, Jake. You remind the world how to stay flexible, even when it's asleep. Jake nods, touched. Dang, my reflection's pretty deep. Pause. As they near the far end, the gatekeeper speaks once more. You have learned silence, renewal, and the rhythm of peace. Now learn this. To rest deeply, one must trust the bridge. The dream will hold you if you allow it. Finn frowns slightly. Trust the bridge? Yes, don't walk, float.
Don't cling. Surrender. Jake glances at Finn. You ready for that?
Finn takes a slow breath. I think so. They both step forward. This time, instead of walking, they close their eyes and let go. For a moment, there is falling, then weightlessness. The bridge hums beneath them, cradling their descent like a mother holding a sleeping child. Light gathers around them, soft, pulsing, endless. The mist becomes warmth, the hum becomes heartbeat, and soon they realize the bridge isn't beneath them anymore. It's within them. Every thought, every breath, every heartbeat is its own bridge, connecting dream and waking, silence and sound, stillness and motion. They float there, suspended in pure being, no effort, no fear, just the quiet pulse of existence itself. Pause. When they open their eyes, the gatekeeper stands before them once more. Their form now glows softly, dissolving into light. You have crossed the bridge between dreams. But remember, the bridge never truly ends. It lives wherever peace and awareness meet. When you sleep, walk it gently. When you wake, carry its calm. Finn bows. Thank you for everything. There is no need for thanks, the gatekeeper whispers. You were never visitors here. You were always part of the dream. And with that, the figure fades, leaving behind only a trail of luminous dust drifting like starlight. Jake sighs contentedly.
Man, I could nap for 1,000 years, Finn smiles.
Maybe you already have. Pause. As the mist clears, they see the faint glow of another shore, calm, silver, and still. The bridge narrows behind them until it becomes just a thread of light, like a memory fading into rest. Finn looks ahead.
Do you think there's one more place to go? Jake nods.
Yeah, the place beyond dreams. Finn takes a deep breath. And that's where we'll rest. Together, they step forward into the final stretch, toward a light that feels like sleep itself. Soft and endless. Pause. The bridge fades behind them, its glow dissolving into the still horizon. Ahead, the air shimmers with faint golden ripples, as though the world itself were exhaling light. Finn and Jake step onto ground that doesn't quite feel like ground, more like the memory of Earth, soft as breath and luminous beneath their feet. The sky above them has no sun, no moon, no stars, only a quiet radiance that feels alive. It is the end of all journeys, yet the beginning of peace. This is where all things return. The calm heart of Ooo, long after time has finished speaking. Jake stretches and looks around. Meh, this place feels like the world's final nap. Finn smiles faintly. Yeah. Like the whole universe finally decided to rest. Pause. The air hums faintly. Not music, not wind, just a tone that lives between both. It carries warmth without heat, brightness without glare. Finn realizes he's not casting a shadow anymore. There's no direction for the light to come from. Everything here simply is. They wander through the soft fields of light. Shapes drift like memories. Faint outlines of trees, rivers, mountains, echoes of Ooo itself, now resting in quiet slumber. Finn kneels and touches the glowing grass. It feels familiar. Not because he's seen it before, but because he's been it before. Every adventure, every laugh, every fall had built this place, woven it together like the threads of a dream. Jake looks around, tail swaying slowly.
Feels like we're walking through our own story, Finn nods.
Maybe we are. He sees flashes as they walk, the Ice King's crown glinting in the distance, Marceline's shadow playing her bass on the horizon, Princess Bubblegum's laughter carried faintly on the breeze. None of them are really there, but their essence lingers, like echoes left behind after a song ends, oars. He smiles softly.
Everyone's here, just sleeping, Jake hums.
Guess that means the story's resting too. Finn takes a breath. Yeah, every tale deserves its dream. They walk until the air grows even softer, and ahead they see a great lake, not of water, but of pure, slow-moving light. The surface ripples gently, each motion leaving trails of color that dissolve like sighs. Finn kneels at the shore, gazing into it. The reflection that greets him isn't his own. It's the sum of everything he's ever been. He sees the boy who ran through forests, the hero who battled monsters, the friend who cried in silence, the wanderer who found peace. They all smile back at him, quietly. Jake joins him, looking down. You seeing what I'm seeing? Finn nods slowly. Yeah, I think this light remembers us. Jake grins. Nice, at least somebody does. Pause. He tosses a pebble, or something like a pebble, into the glowing water. Rings spread outward, soft and infinite. Instead of fading, each ripple rises, lifting tiny stars into the air. They hover, twinkling softly like thoughts released into rest. Finn watches in awe.
Every action becomes light, Jake nods.
Even the dumb ones, they both laugh gently. The sound joins the hum of the lake, becoming part of its endless calm. Pause. From across the shore, a figure approaches, cloaked in gold and white, moving like a reflection walking out of the water. Their eyes are kind, and their voice sounds like every breeze that ever passed through Ooo. You've come far, little dreamers. Finn stands.
Are you the one who keeps this place?
The figure smiles. No one keeps it. The light keeps itself. I merely tend to it, as peace tends to those who find it. Jake squints. So this is the end? The end, yes. But also the beginning of rest. They raise a hand, and a single beam of golden light extends from the lake, forming a slow spiral above them. It glows with scenes from all across Ooo. Mountains, candy kingdoms, forests, oceans, each moment suspended in quiet balance. The world does not vanish when it sleeps. The keeper says softly. It simply dreams of itself. The heroes rest, the rivers breathe, the stories hum quietly until the next dawn. Finn gazes at the swirling light. So, Ooo will dream forever?
As long as something loves it, the keeper replies.
And love does not end. It only changes its form. They sit together by the shining lake, and for a long time no one speaks.
There's no need.
The silence is not empty. It's full, heavy with presence. Finn finally says, "I used to think peace meant stopping.
Like no more battles, no more quests.
But now I think peace is just..."
Realizing you don't have to keep moving to be alive, Jake smiles.
"You mean we can just be?"
Finn nods. Yeah, just
Be. The keeper closes their eyes and hums. Being is the universe's most sacred act. They reach out and touch the surface of the lake. From their fingers, ripples of golden calm spread outward,
wrapping gently around Finn and Jake. The warmth seeps through them, not like fire,
but like the first sunlight after endless winter. "Sleep," the keeper whispers. Not the sleep of forgetting, but the sleep of returning.
"You are home." Pause. Finn and Jake lie down beside the lake, side by side.
The grass hums beneath them, soft as song. The air tastes of honey and old laughter. Above them, the sky deepens, filled now with slow-moving constellations. Familiar shapes, a sword, a crown, a stretching dog.
"A shining heart," Jake murmurs. "Hey, Finn."
"Remember that time we found that giant sleeping bear who dreamed the weather?" Finn chuckles softly. "Yeah, guess we're kind of like that now." Jake sighs, content. "Then let it rain dreams, dude." Pause. The world breathes once more. The lake shimmers brighter, and the stars overhead pulse in rhythm with their hearts. Everything blends. Sound, sight, thought. Until there's no border between them and the world. For a moment, Finn feels himself dissolve. Not lost, but everywhere. Every flower, every hill, every memory of Ooo hums through him like music, and in that boundless calm he understands. The world was never separate from him. He was Ooo, its laughter, its sorrow, its endless rebirth. Awes the keeper's voice. Returns, soft and fading. "Rest now, heroes. You have become what you sought. The light that guided you will guide others, for peace is not kept. It is shared." The last light rises slowly, spreading across the fields. Finn feels the warmth settle in his chest, and Jake's steady breathing beside him slows to a peaceful rhythm. Their eyes close. The light expands. Anew, ancient and young, sighs in contentment. Pause. Time loses meaning. The hum continues, softer now. A cradle song made of silence and memory. The grass glows faintly, then fades into gold dust. The lake becomes mist, and finally all that remains is light. Gentle, endless, still. Within it, the faint shapes of two friends drift together, glowing softly. Not gone, but resting in the heart of everything. On pause. If you listen closely, you can still hear them. Finn's laughter carried on a morning breeze, Jake's hum woven through the rain. They are not lost. They are the quiet between stars, the breath between dreams. Their story never ends, because it has already become the peace it sought. And when you close your eyes tonight, perhaps you too will cross the bridge, past the bells, past the garden, past the dawn, to this place of endless light, where all things, even you, are allowed to rest. Pause. Sleep now, for Ooo dreams, and through its dream, the universe remembers how to love. As the last echoes fade, the world of Ooo drifts gently into its quiet dream. Every bell that ever rang, every morning that ever dawned, every whisper of wind through Finn and Jake's adventures now hums softly in the great silence of peace. Their journey, from laughter to loss, from noise to stillness, was never about endings. It was a return, a reminder that every being, every story, eventually circles back to the same light, calm, eternal, forgiving. So if your eyes grow heavy, if your thoughts begin to drift, let them. Let the bridge between dreams carry you across. Let the garden of morning warm your breath. Let the bells of silence cradle your heart. You too are part of this story, the dream that never ends, the calm that waits beneath every storm or pause. Sleep well, traveller. The last light of Ooo glows softly within you.